Welcome to the Webb Report. My name is Stuart Webb. Today we're going to talk about vaccines. A few days ago, the president posted on his Instagram page, "Today, the Trump administration is proud to announce the United States of America's updated childhood vaccination schedule. This schedule is rooted in the gold standard of science and widely agreed upon by scientists and experts all over the world. Effective today, America will no longer require 72 jabs for our beautiful, healthy children. We are moving to a far more reasonable schedule where all children will only be recommended to receive vaccinations for 11 of the most serious and dangerous diseases. Parents can still choose to give their children all the vaccinations if they wish, and they will still be covered by insurance, et cetera, et cetera." So this is good overall that the federal government, the administration, the executive branch that's their new policy. They're adopting this policy. Although when he says effective today, America will no longer require 72 jabs, it was never required. That's a little ambiguous, trying to imply that it was against the law to not have all these vaccinations. If that were the case, and many of us, I think, would be breaking the law, essentially. But overall, this is a good policy position to have. It's better than the previous position. So overall, though, we need to talk a little bit about vaccines, regardless of your stance on, whether you give them to your children or you take them, or you think that they work, or you think that we should be required to take them. We're going to talk about the Vaccine Injury Act. So back in 1986, Congress passed this act, the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, and it is still in effect today, this law. And so what that does is that it allows vaccine manufacturers to be exempt from criminal prosecution. So they have this vaccine fund, or this injury compensation fund, to basically compensate those that make claims that they've been injured by a vaccine. But you can't criminally prosecute any of these pharmaceutical companies. Okay, so just some food for thought. I wonder how many. Ask yourself this. I wonder how many people are regretting that they didn't take the vaccine in 2020, the COVID vaccine. I wonder how many people regret not taking the vaccine. I bet that's probably very few people regretting not taking it, right? But I'm sure there's many people, I know that there's many people that regret taking it. In fact, many people didn't want to take it. They were forced to take it in order to continue to provide for their family, continue to have a livelihood, right? That has since changed drastically. But many people have regretted being forced, or felt like they were coerced to take the vaccine, and they regret taking that COVID vaccine. And the whole claim is that the risks or the benefits outweigh the risks, right? So the government takes the position that we need to have vaccines widely available to people because the benefits outweigh the risks. Okay, and well, I would disagree with that, but I think it's very obvious now, by the fruits you shall know them, just by using your eyes. The COVID vaccine, that was not the case. The benefits did not outweigh the risks. And so, I'd rather be alive than dead. So I'll take the chance of getting sick or getting the disease that they claim the vaccine keeps us safe from. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But most people don't understand that the pharmaceutical companies, they can't be criminally prosecuted for someone being injured by the vaccine, right? is why it should never be required to take any of these vaccines, because I mean, who trusts these big pharmaceutical companies? I don't. Now, a key investor in one of these pharmaceutical companies is Bill Gates. And here's a clip that some of you may have seen, but it's been suppressed in a lot of ways. But back 10 years ago, he was doing a TED Talk, and this is him just casually talking about population control using vaccines. Okay?
Population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3.
So he's saying we could lower the population with the proper use of vaccines. That's a little weird, right? So I thought vaccines were supposed to help people, right? Protect them, keep them safe, and protect them from death. But that's not really the case. That may have been the case for some vaccines at some point, right? And I think what we really this is kind of a difficult thing for people to understand, is that if you don't understand that there's organized evil involved in the highest levels of government and the power structures of not only this country but the world, you won't understand why something that's really unsafe would be implemented and almost nearly required for people to take, because there's larger agendas, there's evil agendas. And I wanted to touch on this too. So, when I say organized evil, that's well-funded, well-organized, I say that because I think people do a disservice to themselves and others when they think that just one person, like a Bill Gates, can accomplish evil agendas by himself. He can't. Okay, it requires many people to be involved to accomplish systematically evil things. Okay, for long periods of time too. So if you understand that, you'll understand why some things don't make sense, right? Like you wonder why, well, I voted for these people and they got in and they did the exact opposite. And then I voted for these people the next year and they did the exact opposite of what they said they were going to do. That's because their agenda is not in the people's interests. Their agenda is not good and it's not righteous. And there's an underlying organized evil. And again, it's not one or two people. Okay. The only way people can accomplish really evil things for long periods of time systematically throughout the world, you got to be a team player. Okay. And so that's how it happens. And so that's why when these vaccine companies are, there's a lot of crossover in big multinational corporations. So I've been studying this for a long time. You see a revolving door from high levels of government to multi-level multinational corporations that are very powerful. You saw this. If you're a progressive, you'd understand this when it comes to the Bush administration, right? Wasn't Dick Cheney like an owner of Halliburton or something? Which basically high levels of leaders in government own or were given jobs or have a stake in these massive corporations that benefit from the leaders' political decisions, right? So, and that's just like one example. There's too many. They're never ending. There's too many to talk about. That's just one obvious one because I think no one likes Dick Cheney, right? So that's like an easy one. But that's like this happens all the time, constantly, regardless of political party. So that's how evil agendas that damage the prosperity of the people, damage the health of the people, the general population. That's how these things are accomplished. It's organized evil. It's generational, and it's been going on since Adam and Eve. So you should be aware of that. That'll help you have understand these things better. But just wanted to talk about that. My wife sent me this post about the vaccine schedule, and I'm like, well, that's great. That's awesome. I'm glad that at least at the highest levels of government, they're at least professing that, what was in place for a policy previously was way unreasonable, like not even close to being reasonable. And so, I mean, that's good. We're moving in the right direction. But a lot of this also, I wanted to add, a lot of the moves that the Trump administration are making, it's to appease their voting base, to appease just areas of the voting base, right? So, and they do this so that they can go invade other countries and then be like, well, but we changed the vaccine schedule, yay! It's like, okay, well, I mean, I don't trust the government one bit to not have a 2020 situation happen again. Not one bit. So we always need to remember, like, what happened in 2020, okay? Literally, I mean, like, all of our natural rights were violated. I mean, the most important natural rights were violated on a massive scale throughout our country and the world. And we really need to be vigilant and not forget about that, because we're in 2026 now, and people think, oh, well, things are kind of back to normal, even though, a lot of financial things are out of control, inflation, etc. But we just can't forget that, because things like this will continue to happen. So we need to defend our natural rights, and we need to force the government to defend our natural rights, right? They need to enforce natural law. And I wanted to add one more thing when it comes to the vaccines. So I believe that you don't have a natural right to good health, right? You don't have, there's a universal risk to being alive and being born in this world. It's a fallen world. People get sick. You also don't have a natural right to, like, someone's services. So like a doctor's services, you don't have a natural right to healthcare. You don't have a natural right to good health either. So when there are real diseases and sicknesses and illnesses spreading, which is a universal risk of being alive, you need to take, you should take precautions that you believe are good and proper and reasonable for you and your family, and do your best to mitigate the risks of the health risks. So unfortunately, like, people get sick. I mean, and people die. But we cannot violate everyone's natural rights and then force them to try to take a product, basically with a gun to your head, to take a product that is not only not safe and effective, but it's owned by not good people, and the taxpayers, and you're forced to pay for that product that you're forced to take that you don't agree with. So there's a lot of problems with it, but ultimately the principle is that it's a natural right to you own your own body, right? Okay, so you shouldn't have to be forced to take an injection of whatever the government says you have to take, and it's and there's a universal risk to being alive. So you don't have a natural right to good health. So you could self-isolate. If you're really concerned, like you saw people go crazy in March of 2020 and April of 2020, where everyone was buying, they were just going crazy with trying to mitigate the risks, right? It's like, I think that's fine. If you want to be as take as many precautions as you want, but you can't force me to take those same precautions. Like I'm not going to wear a mask while I go to bed while I'm sleeping. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, you just can't, and I should be able to go out and just live normally. And I'm not going to violate others, like their personal space and whatnot. But like, you should be able to. Your natural rights should still be protected, even if there's some disease spreading or virus spreading. People can self isolate if that's totally within their natural right. You can stay at home. You can order food on Amazon and Walmart, do delivery from Walmart and just order all your stuff. And you can live like that for however long you want, but I'm not going to live like that. So, we need to be able to agree to disagree on how we want to live through something like that. And again, it's just a universal risk of being alive. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on when it comes to this new vaccine schedule. Anyway, that's all I have for you tonight. Take care. God bless.